Hey, fighting this thing. What's happening, man? Welcome back to that gun Urban Academia. I'm your boy Jay Zilla, and to my left, your right, Chulo Rich. What's happening, man?
What's the word, man? What's the word?
Oh, same old, same old. Still asking questions, still trying to figure things out.
I
You
hear
know, last week it was a little rough. I'm not gonna lie.
that. You say rough, I say fun.
So let me explain. So we had the battle of the sexes. Wasn't enough to go through the six main issues between men and women. So then we had the idea of like we're gonna break each one down, make it its own episode. Last week we did sex. It went swimmingly with a panel full of men because we had a couple of ladies who dropped out. But this time, we are not gonna make the same mistake. As we welcome to the show, Miss Glennis. Feel y'all.
Hello. How are y'all?
Well, how are you?
I am
Like
doing
to
great.
say,
I am waiting on spring.
Hey, I hear that, man. You're over there in the South. Like, I definitely understand that. We got a little
Yeah.
dusting.
Well, when a dusting comes to Alabama, we all go crazy up here. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Man,
not. I'm not a snow person. Just give me summer and spring, and I can handle it.
Absolutely. So as
I'm
we
good with
see,
that too.
so we have some female representation. Finally, this is a dude-centric show, but we always are trying. Originally, when we started this, we had a lady co-host in mind, and that didn't work out either. So I definitely am glad to get some different perspective. What's up, Captain, in the comments? Sipping that aid. Yeah, I got a sip, to just, relax myself just a little bit. But yeah, I'm glad, and I also am glad that I got someone who seems to have their stuff together, and they got that nice Southern accent. I'm from the South. Now I'm in New Mexico, so anytime I hear it, I just savor it. So thank
Is
you
there
so much
really
for
an
doing this.
Albuquerque in New Mexico?
Oh,
Really?
yeah.
Because
That's where
Bugs
I'm at.
Bunny always misses his turn in Albuquerque.
Absolutely, I forgot all about that. Yeah, in Albuquerque, right? I'm
Yeah.
actually in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We do
Oh
exist.
wow.
And my mother always mixes that up, like New Mexico versus Mexico, right? So there's a lot of times where something happens in Mexico, the country, and she's like, "Oh my goodness, are y'all okay?" It's like, "Mom, that's not us. We're in New Mexico. We're still in the U.S. We're fine." So I don't want to make that I don't want to make that a thing. So last week we talked about sex, and that was number one of six of the six major issues between men and women. This week we are talking jealousy/infidelity. Of course, we always like to throw some videos in here, so I'm gonna start with. Man, I don't know how I want to do this here, Rich.
Do it. Do it.
Well, just throw it on
Just
there.
rip the Band-Aid off.
Rip the band-aid off. She said, "Look, we
Yeah,
gotta
just
look
rip it off.
for all you men out there. Here's what you do. When the lady speaks, listen, right? So she says, rip the band-aid off, and so that's exactly what we're gonna do. All right, let's do this. Nope, not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Okay, that one. Bear with me, sorry. There we go.
You'll get it. I know it.
This is what the fuck you do? This is what the fuck you do? This is what the fuck? Who the fuck is she? Who the fuck is she? That ain't your motherfucking home. Who the fuck is she? This what the fuck you do? I have to fucking follow you? This is what you do? Take off my motherfucking shoes. Take off my shoes. I bought the bitch for your birthday. Take them off. Take off the socks too. Take off the fucking socks. Take them off. I want those. Take them off. Take them off. Yup. Take them off. Thank you. Take them off. Take them off, nigga. This what the fuck you do? You's a nasty nigga. You's a nasty nigga. You a nasty nigga. Get out of my business. She's a dirty bitch, man.
So infidelity. Let's talk about it. What is infidelity, Chulo Rich?
It's a lot of things. You said it's based on what understanding you have with your partner, but I would say there are some obvious, You can go too far, and it's kind of a unspoken, understood thing.
Mm.
But like I said, if you don't have that conversation with your partner, hell, you don't really know what it is. So.
Right. Now I realize to Ms. Glens that may be a little bit shocking to see, but we always on this show try to show a little bit of the more extreme examples of what we're talking about, and then try to break some things down. Like, have you ever seen or been in a situation quite like that we saw in that clip?
Is your Walmart like that?
No, no, not like that at all. I've never, no, I could never be in public and be like that, because I never aired my business like that in public. But I mean, you brought your business in public. Was that a Walmart?
Yes.
Any chance?
Yes.
It was a Walmart.
It was okay. So that's what happens when you go to Walmart. But no, I've never. But here's my question: why wasn't the first woman enough for the guy? Why did he have to go to Walmart with another woman? What was?
Well, we don't know what he did
behind that.
We don't know what this guy did. Yeah. We just know his woman was angry about it, and she demanded her shoes and her socks back. But we don't know what he did. But he did something she didn't approve of.
Keep it. Right. I'm just like, keep it. I would be just like, keep it. I would just walk away. I wouldn't cause a scene. It wouldn't be worth my time, really.
Absolutely. So what y'all are getting into is kind of defining what infidelity is. I've asked you both, you kind of have your thing. So we always kind of do like a breakdown, right? So we have infidelity, the action or state of being unfaithful to a spouse or other sexual partner. Uh-oh, we got somebody calling in on the show.
I think that's what they're trying to do. So
okay. So yeah, so that's the Merriam dictionary version, right? The action or state of being unfaithful to a spouse or other sexual partner. So what your question is, Rich, is, sort of, well, what does that mean to each person? And I think we all can agree that means that we need to make sure we're having those conversations and lay out some rules, right? And you gotta be careful with actually, what's the word here? Assuming, right? You never want to assume that what you think infidelity is or the commitment that you're making is shared with your partner, right? That has to be worked on. That has to be stated, kind of like, in contract negotiations, you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate for. So how can we avoid that?
Well, your biblical definition of a partner is one that you're one in flesh with the person you're with. Your casual partner is your dating sex. So if you're dating sex and that's what you're having is dating sex, and this isn't a marriage partner, this is a casual sex, then you get what you get, because you're not married to this person.
Right, Rich.
So how often do people have casual sex, and how do you know when you're having casual sex, and how does that work?
Well, are we going by the biblical definition of casual sex, or are we going by just whoever you want to sleep with? So I mean, how are you going by that? What are you? So
I think what we're trying to do here is to define all that, right? I think with each individual, because you may be religious, but some people aren't religious. So how How do you know that it's okay in one situation and not? Well, each separate individual relationship has to make sure they're communicating that, right? As we welcome to the show, Zane. What's happening? Is that a question you can answer, Zane? I know you back there eating cookies and cakes in the green room, man. What's happening?
How you doing, brother?
Pretty good. So she asked, this whole idea of infidelity. First, can you tell us what you think the definition of it is? And we'll go from there. All right.
Infidelity, I think it's, you can pretty much know what it means from the word itself. Plus, I think like, regardless of the gender, anybody can be a victim of infidelity. In every relationship, there should be understanding and love and mutual respect, I believe. And I think that's the main reasons to create infidelity between couples.
That's an interesting way to put it. So, okay, so this episode, we want to be pretty precise this time because we were all over the place last time, right? So what we're going to do, we're trying to answer three things. What is infidelity, right? Why do people do it, right? Why do people cheat? Why do people stray, look at other women, other men, whatever, right? And then, is it forgivable? Probably the most hardest question to, one of the hardest of those three to answer. Okay, and I think we all have our different, ideas of what infidelity is, but do you all agree that it's something that has to be stated and worked out before you move forward in a relationship, so everyone knows exactly each person's definition of infidelity?
I still say we need a damn application. That's the easiest thing to do.
Explain this application.
Fill out this damn application.
Right, we talked about this before. Explain the application process.
I mean, no different than the application process the GM puts you through, I guess. You know what I mean? You should have all of this stuff written down so that we could read it out. We start with these 6 points and we go from there in this application. And we have to cover all of these 6 points before we proceed forward. And then when we proceed forward, we at least know how we're proceeding forward. We ain't going into things blind, you know what I mean? Or I can look at this application and say, nope, that's not going to work for me. And I can just put that to the side and continue on, on my journey. I don't have to waste all of this time, effort, whatever else. Because I can guarantee you there would be something you would read on there that you say, oh, that's a red flag for me.
So let's let the lady chime in here.
What do we do when you have someone that lies on your application? Then what happens?
Well, I'd rather take my chances there because you're going to get a little bit of honesty out of that application just off the fact that you're doing it. If somebody takes the time to even do it, you're going to get some honesty out of there, I think. Depending on what age you are and, maybe it could work, maybe it couldn't. Shit, I don't know. But whatever we're doing now ain't working. I know that. So we got to figure something else out. I don't know, but I'm willing to try it.
No, it's not a bad idea. I'm not shooting your idea down. I'm just saying, I mean, everybody puts forth in the beginning, they dress their best, they're doing their best to get your interest and pique your interest and keep your interest for a little while. And then we all get complacent. So infidelity just doesn't wake up one morning and you say to yourself, I think I'm going to do something, I think I'm going to do something shady today and hope I don't get caught. It's a slow fade. Something happens in your relationship as you go on and you catch the eye, somebody listens to your listens to what you're saying or whatever they're doing.
Okay, Zane?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's exactly like you hit the nail on the head. I was talking to my wife about that, the same subject yesterday, telling her like I think cheating happens when um, one of the parties would not like find what they look for in the other person, and so they go kind of look for it somewhere else. It's pretty much like you go and buy an item from a shop or something, like, just to simply put it, if you don't find that item in that shop, you're gonna go and look until you find it. So I think anything is permissible between two consenting adults. Like, there's no religious feelings about it, or cultural thing. Like, if you and I say, we're gonna do this, you're comfortable, I'm comfortable, we both happy with what we're doing, that's completely fine. Like, who are we to judge, you know? But if like, I feel the only reason cheating happens between couples is because somebody is missing something, or they're looking for something, you know? It could be validation, it could be physical, it could be anything.
But you are connected to that person spiritually through your sexual acts with that person, because of the way you're connected to that person on sexually. It that's what happens, and that's why it hurts so much when somebody does something and they break that trust with you, and they go outside of your relationship and have
because
another sexual partner.
Because if you think about it, put yourself in the other person's shoes and be cheated on, or dumped, or left for whatever reason, it does hurt.
But
it does suck.
Cheated and been cheated on. So I've been on both sides of the spectrum. So I understand
it
both
is
sides
painful.
Of the spectrum, but it
is painful no matter how you put it. No matter how you put it, you flip it. It is, and I think that's what I started my argument with, is respect and love and understanding and communication is like very important pillars in a relationship.
So I think,
like, if we have love and understanding and honesty, right, and good communication, I think the relationship is solid.
So I think we can all agree on that. I'm gonna play another clip, and y'all tell me what you think about this.
I thought I knew who you were, who we were as a couple, who I was. Now I question everything. Infidelity, a violation of trust, a crisis of identity. Can I ever trust you again, he asks. Can I ever trust anyone again? And this is also what my patient Heather is telling me when she's talking to me about her story with Nick, married, 2 kids. Nick just left on a business trip. And Heather is playing on his iPad with the boys when she sees a message appear on the screen. Can't wait to see you. Strange, she thinks, we just saw each other. And then another message. Can't wait to hold you in my arms. And Heather realizes these are not for her. She also tells me that her father had affairs, but her mother, she found one little receipt in the pocket and a little bit of lipstick on the collar. Heather, she goes digging, and she finds hundreds of messages and photos exchanged and desires expressed. The vivid details of Nick's 2-year affair unfold in front of her in real time.
Okay, so just to kind of break that down a little bit, what she's talking about is the difference of cheating kind of back in the day versus now, right? Back in the day, little lipstick, little this, and like, oh, it's still the hurt and pain of being cheated on. But what it is today is a different monster. It gets explicit.
It's novel about it.
Right. So it's so far out there. And so how do you avoid something like that? It goes back to what we talked about last week, which is constant conversation. Relationships are work, right? And you have to have honest, bordering on offensive conversation in order for both of y'all, for all parties involved, to get to the same place. Any thoughts on that? My wonderful, wonderful panel.
I agree. I think that conversation and communication is the way to go. But then again, are the parties mature enough to handle that type of conversation? To even
right.
have that type of conversation. I know a lot of people that are not mature enough to handle it. They can't deal with it without somebody getting upset.
Let me hear from Rich first, and then we'll go to Zane.
Okay.
I think on average, man, you know, we kind of dancing around and that's cool and shit, but on average, you know, when you get into a relationship, most people know what it is that they signed up for in that relationship. Like, you know, if you get with a dude, you know if he's a polygamist or some random shit, or if he's not, you know what I mean? So if he's not all of that, then yeah, you expecting, okay, we're in a relationship, it's me and you doing something. That's goes without being said. Most of us, that's how we look at it. It starts going left somewhere though. At some point, it starts going left, because when you met each other, it was all good. It was vibing on each level, you know what I mean? And something happened. You either saw something you didn't like, or somebody changed. Something happened, you know what I mean? Or you just that type of person, and you flip that switch and just said, "Damn that." But
hang on. Before I go to Zane, the idea that let's just leave the extremes out of there, right? The people who, you know, who just enjoy cheating. Those people exist. I just enjoy sneaking around, getting over on people. Like, those people set aside. People who are truly trying to be real, you know, be genuine in their relationship, and then stray for whatever reason. So go ahead, Zane.
Yeah, like back to my point, like it's either a neglect or something happened. Like, it goes along with everybody was saying, is something has to drive the other person out. If you are saying that you don't enjoy this stuff, you have a healthy relationship, and all of a sudden you just go stray, it's something has to trigger that. And
it's not likely that you just fell into sex with somebody else.
Well, okay, like the lady here said. I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
Glennis.
Glennis. I'm sorry. You don't just wake up and go like, well, I'm gonna go cheat today. Like, because what is your objective from cheating? Are you just after the sex, or are you after some sort of validation that you're looking for emotionally or physically or whatever? Or are you after the thrill of it? You know what I mean? Like, just getting sneaky and stuff. So once we address the motivation, then we can break it down and probably help you or understand what's happening. But to blanket statement, I believe, like to everybody, like there's a set rule to why somebody cheats, I don't think that that's possible, because we're a colorful species.
Okay, so we got in the chats here, the missus. She says it's still a choice no matter what happened. That this person decided this is the answer versus talking with the relationship partner. So instead of talking to your partner, no matter what
I'm not saying I'm sorry, I'm taking over my guests of my friends.
Go
here.
ahead, go ahead, get your
I'm not saying like, yeah, it's not a choice and you can make better choices. No, of course, definitely, regardless of the motivation, it's still a choice, because you're gonna go put on your pants and take off your pants, you know, and you're gonna put on your shoes and go to that person or do whatever you're gonna do. So it is like you have thought about it. It is a process, and I feel here where you should weigh what you're doing versus the consequences. Like, are you willing to get caught and lose your family and lose your wife or your husband or your kids, whatever the case might be? And see the risk versus the reward. I feel like I wish people would make better decisions if they weigh out their options before they kind of make a decision.
But psychologically, what if that person at the office listens, is more empathetic, something that the partner isn't, and that's what draws you in, and
it is very
so
possible.
you have to look at it from both sides.
So I think,
you know what I'm saying?
what y'all
it is a very possible.
Both sides.
Hang on, I think what y'all are saying are the same things.
Mm-hmm.
What he's saying, and stop me if I'm wrong, Zane, is that something's happening, just like Chulo was saying. Something's happening to cause this person to be triggered to stray, right? What the missus in the chat is saying, that no matter what, it's still a choice. And then what you're saying is, what if they feel like they're getting something somewhere outside the relationship that they're not getting within the relationship? Which brings us all to this point. Hang on, I'm going to show another clip, which brings us all to this point of sort of the different reasons why men cheat versus women. And we're going to pull up this, and then there's something else that we talked about last week that I think would kind of shed some light on this. Here we go.
That are a myth.
Yeah. And I once heard somebody say, I believe it was Charlemagne God, he made a point and he said men cheat for ego and women cheat for emo, in regards to like men are usually cheating because there's some type of insecurity that he's dealing with, that he wants to prove himself and, you know, validate himself using women. And then women usually, if they're not feeling emotional support from their partner, they go ahead and they go lead to infidelity. Have you seen that as well in your practice?
I've seen that, but I've seen other things too. For example, men, when they're stressed out, unless they're really stressed, one way men relieve themselves when they're stressed is they have sex. Mm-hmm. When women are stressed, our sex shuts off. Women need to be relaxed and feel like they can escape. So if they have a partner, think about it, and they're with their kids all day, or they're working, they're the only one responsible. They come home and he's like, he had a bad week or he's tired. He's like, come here, I want to have.
So listen to
Wait,
that.
did she say that when women are stressed, that the sex shuts off? Is that what she said?
Right.
Yeah.
The business. Get out of here.
That's interesting.
So what are your thoughts on that?
All women are
No. We can't have you just sit on that. That's interesting. I want you to dig into that. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I don't understand. Is she saying that all women are like that? I mean, because that's a pretty broad way of saying that, because
right.
When I was in my tyrant, and it's not now, but when I was in my tyrant, I mean, I did it for whatever. If I just felt like it, I did it. If I didn't, I didn't. It was never. There was no reasoning for my madness. I mean, if I wanted to, I did it.
Stress didn't shut you down.
I'm sorry?
Stress never shut you down.
Right. It was just, I mean, you know, it was, absolutely. I didn't have anything behind it. It was just, if that was something I wanted to do, I just did it. It wasn't for emotional reasons. It wasn't for, it wasn't because I needed a shoulder to cry on. I think strong women who have their act together, who don't need a man, and I don't mean that in an ugly way, they just, you know, I think, because I'm in that mode where I'm a woman, but I kind of think like a guy. into some retrospect.
So wait, what does that mean?
Hey, wait,
That
was something I wanted to do. I just did.
Can I be a man and think like a woman and the shit is cute to y'all? Can I do that? Can I be a man and think like a woman?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we're in the age where if you wanted
You think so?
you could, I reckon, I mean.
I don't reckon so. I don't reckon so. I reckon.
Why not? Why not, Rich?
I reckon that's ass backwards is what I reckon. I reckon there's no reason for me to be walking around thinking like a woman. You know what I mean? I just don't see what the point of that would be. And I don't see how that would be attractive to a woman, I do know I need to understand a woman's perspective more, which means I need to hear from a woman more. And when I say hear from a woman more, I don't mean be griped at about shit. I mean, explain some shit to me, break some shit down so that I understand where you're coming from. You know what I mean?
But that sounds more like love languages, Rich. Like, I think here's the big thing that we discovered last week. And there was a lot in there. Okay. Zane and I had a whole separate podcast privately about this. But I think what we all realize is that these definitions of what it is, like she said that I think like a man in that situation. And Rich is asking if I think like a woman, is that going to be cute? Like, I don't think so. But what we're missing is what we talked about last week, is that we gotta throw away those definitions of what it is to be or think and act like a man versus woman. There are masculine traits and then there are feminine traits. And these traits exist in both genders. So I think that may clear it up. So Ms. Glennis had some very masculine traits where she was like, if I wanted it, I went and got it. Ain't no big deal, right? Whereas me, I felt like I had to be more lovey-dovey and connect on an emotional level, right? Unless there was some alcohol or drugs involved, right? So what are y'all thoughts on that? Like, once we figure out that definition, that men and women are both masculine and feminine. And a lot of the misconceptions happen when we try to fit everything that is man in one box over here and everything that is woman in one box over here, right? Thoughts?
I feel it should never be black and white thing.
Right.
It should be several shades of gray in between. Like, it should never be a man and women issue, or because we're a very complicated species. If you think about it, like, we talked about it the other day, me and you. Like, each individual have a universe floating between their ears, their brain, so they're experiencing this world from their own point of view of that universe, so for us to be like, oh, men should do this and women should do that, or like specific kind of gender roles, I don't think this works anymore. This mindset works anymore, because human just comes in different shapes and colors, just like any other species. Look at dogs and cats.
Right.
They come big and small and fluffy, skinny, and all kind of, we're the same thing. The aggressive, the obedient. So I think when we address the human species, we should address them by female and male and their accolades as a person, without saying, oh, the whole gender or the whole female or the whole male. Or address them, I missed out on saying address them either female or male. I meant like address them with what they prefer to be addressed at.
Right, but then it comes back, it waters down.
At the end of the day, regardless of what...
Okay, it waters back down to this. Each person has to have tough conversations. If me and Glennis are going out on that first date, we need to be able to talk about that she's more aggressive than I am. And I need to be able to talk about, well, hey man, I like cuddling and I like hugs. I like long conversations, walks on the beach, pina coladas, whatever, right? And then, kind of like Rich is saying, with that
to each his own.
Right, but just like Rich is talking about that application, us having these communications is the application. A lot of times we are listening to people. I was talking to somebody else about how when we were growing up, we didn't get detailed instructions on not only what not to do, but why it's important for you not to do, right? The whole drug campaign, there you go, the whole drug campaign was just don't do them, right? If you're this type of sexuality, just don't be it, right? What about sex? Hey, just don't have it, right? No one's breaking down why that's important. And I think that's something we need to.
I would like to disagree. I would like to disagree with Rick about the application, and I'll tell you why. Because human beings evolve. You know, you're not gonna be the same way of thinking when you're 20 and have the same thoughts when you're in your 30s or 40s and so on. Especially if you're in a long relationship, like a healthy, successful relationship. Like, I think you should be malleable and open-minded and not rigid. Instead of set a paper in the beginning, like maybe not a physical paper, maybe a communication and a conversation over a dinner, but you don't set it up like, okay, so I like to have sex with multiple partners and I like, or blah, 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 or I like this or that, you know? But then who knows? Like, you're not the same person 10 years ago. You know, there's a lot of things have either improved or even diminished from your personality.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
But it isn't important, like you said, to be malleable, Zane.
Think of the relationship.
Zane? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
You
go ahead
out, buddy. But thinking about what you're saying, like, you want it to be malleable, but you can renegotiate a contract, right?
Right.
But I think it is important. Like, you may have, you may not have
to negotiate.
Hang on,
you
Zane.
don't.
Hang on, Zane.
I don't feel.
Zane, hang on. So what I'm saying is, you don't have to have that physical paper, that form, right? But the communication you have on that first date and the subsequent dates, even when you're in a long-term relationship, you keep communicating. You keep reapplying. Even biblically, Paul talks about dying daily, right? That's every single day you have to reaffirm your faith, reaffirm your commitment to that person. How can I make sure that I am doing the things that are important to my partner and they're doing the same for me? In that regards, we keep growing together. And maybe we switch things up. Maybe I say to you, I may say to Glennis, hey man, I want to try something else. And she's like, I'm not cool with that. Maybe that's where the contract ends. But the communication and malleability is definitely important.
Absolutely. No
matter isn't that being malleable? Isn't that being malleable and having?
Relax. I'm agreeing with you, what you say.
Having a both way door. Like, hey, if I'm not comfortable with something, please respect me. And if you are not comfortable with something, I respect you, as long as we keep that door of conversation open.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
And we all need to do that.
Don't know what conversations to have. And I think here now we're learning what conversations we should be having. You get with this partner, only thing you're concerned with is fucking. You do that, it goes good till there's an argument, some shit goes wrong somewhere. Then the cheating starts, the infidelity starts, the bullshit starts. Then the feelings are hurt and all type of other shit. Well, you could have done something about that before you got there. If you knew what to talk about. You're not talking about what you need to be talking about. You're talking about what's for dinner, talking about this, talking about, okay, there's such and such happening next weekend. You're not talking about anything that concerns anything that you need to be talking about. This is why I say we need an application. We need something to tell us, point by point, line by line. What is it that I need to be asking this motherfucker about? What does matter?
Because you're going backwards. Because we're going backwards. We're going way backwards because we're starting in the bedroom.
Really? Okay. Reverse engineering a relationship versus doing all that application process beforehand.
Which is why you give the application.
Okay, application, man. Get out of here.
Okay, I get your application aspect of it, but you're still the application starts when you see someone, you like someone. And you want to get to know that person. So getting to know that person is not sex. Getting to know that person is, hey, do you like to go hunting? Well, what about canoeing? How about fishing? What about hiking? You know, what kind of books do you read? Instead of, let's just take our clothes off and run to the bedroom and we're compatible in the bedroom, you know, find out what you're compatible with outside the bedroom and then build to the bedroom.
It's tender before tenderness, right?
Man.
Before
Yeah.
So I mean, no, that's a little harder, I understand, but I mean, if the way is that you're doing now isn't working,
right,
let's try something different. And I mean, that's the only thing I can come up with.
Well, okay, final, and as the missus says in the chat, there are values, right? But those values have to be agreed upon, and I like the idea of having those conversations, right? Do you like hunting? Do you like hiking? Are you a Bama fan or no? Because that could be a deal breaker. Hey, you like to explore in the bedroom? Like, we don't have the tough, awkward conversations.
Right.
And I think that's what we need to. Is this going to
be the extent of everything that we do? Like, you really have to talk to people about shit. But like I said, we don't know what to talk to them about. So yeah, that's kind of what we need to focus on, learning what conversations to have, what really does matter. You're with somebody for 2 to 5 years, you know what I mean? What matters at that point? What should you be talking about?
I don't think there is a set rules on what to talk about. I feel like, again, because we're a very complex the human being is very complex brains and way of living. Anyway, I don't think there's a set way of talking about stuff. I feel you should just be expressive about what you want and what you feel, and also allow the same amount of respect to the other person. Like as you dish it, you can take it, in a way, and I feel you guys will figure each other out as you see, like, as you start talking about how you are and who you are, and without censoring anything, without trying to please the other person, just be yourself, kind of thing.
Right.
You're right.
Being 100% honest, because you can start being not you, trying to attract that person or hide or cut certain details.
Yes.
Because you think they're not flattering enough or whatever. But I feel like since day one, like I keep forgetting your name.
Miss Glennis.
Glennis. Said that we starting right away with sex, and that's the problem. And that's true, because before we get into the bedroom and blah blah blah, because it's not just sex, you have to have like that you pick that person to be with, because again, it's a both-way door. It's not just her sleeping with you, you're actually getting naked and sleeping with her, you know what I mean? So both of you get the same responsibility of the outcome of that night, So
we learned that on the previous video. I said, no, you don't. We learned that on the previous video. In the video, the guy said, why should women be more selective than men? And the answer was simply because they have to carry babies around. As men, we don't have to do that. You can go knock down 10 women tonight, shoot out 10 kids, shoot out to Austin, do the same thing tomorrow. Understand? Women don't have that option.
And just to clarify,
it is different.
Just to clarify, he's talking more of why women tend to mature quicker. Because especially with all those hormones in our food and stuff, 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, a woman can become pregnant. That is sobering to a woman way more than, a wet dream for a dude. So there are certain biological things that do happen that force our brain to sort of turn over another gear.
And I didn't learn that till last week. You understand?
Right.
This is what I'm saying.
Mid-30s,
We're
right?
not having the proper conversations. We're not having the proper dialogue. We're doing a lot of talking. We ain't talking about shit. That's the problem. You understand? We're doing a lot of talking, but we ain't talking about shit.
Again, like, there's no, like, what can we advise one another other than be yourself? No, that's it. Help you try to actually be yourself, because being yourself is the beginning of being honest and being open for them to know you, and you expect the same from them because you gave them that respect. And if they don't return the favor and start lying, or like they're not the same person you met the first day, that's on them.
We're all saying the same thing. We're just expanding on each other's ideas. What you're saying is there is no set way.
I didn't disagree. I don't know why you yelled at me. I just said there's no set talking points. There's no set talking points that we can say, grab a guy and tell him, hey, talk about sex, talk about this. No, it has to be fluid depending on that relationship. Because what kind of relationships that I went through or I'm in, it's totally different on your experience. So my advice could not work for you. You know, I feel like being yourself and opening that door, letting the going back and forth, it's the healthy way to approach this.
Right. And I didn't mean to yell. I don't know if it was my tone or what it was. Why you laughing at me, Rich? That gummit.
No.
So here's all I'm saying is I don't want people who are watching this to possibly miss something here. Like we're not disagreeing at all, right? I'm looking at 3 other people on this podcast here at the Urban Academia podcast. As the wife is lighting up the comments, man. That's how you know we're having a good conversation. So I'm looking at every little bit of this idea. Rich saying we need an application, right? Some baseline things, right, that we can talk about, right? With Glennis and I, we're talking, you know, the difference between masculine and feminine, right? That has to be accounted for. You're saying have these conversations and be real, right? But I think the technique that we're talking about is having honest conversations, right? The idea that we got to be able, there is no set list for anybody, true. But you have to then put in the work and speak to your prospective partner to make sure that y'all are on the same page. Do you have the same values? Like I said, are you a Bama or are you a dadgum Auburn fan? I need to know before you drop them panty drawers, you know, because this could be make or break.
And you could be being real with a person and you just haven't gotten to something yet. You know what I mean? So there's things that you need to talk about and that you can save yourself 10 years or 10 weeks. You know what I mean? If you just go ahead and have a conversation about it. You know what I mean? Let's just go ahead and talk about this versus living fluidly until we get there. And then now we got to find out then.
Wait. But again, you are forgetting the evolution of the relationship, of circumstances. Okay, whatever you can talk about and address today may totally be different tomorrow. That's why I'm telling you to keep the door open, and you will know from the first meeting or the second meeting or going out or eating or whatever, how you guys meet. If you're a smart person and being honest and going with that person, you will know that's the person for you or not, or if you want to have a second, third date or not.
So let me push back on that, Zane.
I don't think that's how we want to. We don't want to say if you're just having a good time and it's going right, because I could take 9 people out on 9 dates and make you feel like you're having a good time and it's going right. And that don't mean shit at the end of the day.
So hold on, Rich. Let me push back on this one part because you said I'm forgetting the fluidity. My statement literally was, Zane, every day, every single day, your thoughts need to be on one thing and one thing only. How can I communicate to my partner what has changed, what is the same, what needs to continue, whatever. And the same thing from her as Miss Glennis joins us. Thought we lost you. We need that lady perspective. But you understand, I'm saying that every day you put the work in, every single day. And at some point where y'all get to a point where I cannot, that's not something I'm comfortable with. If that person feels like they're not going to be able to continue, then that's when you need to have even more serious conversations about ending a quote unquote contract, right? That's what I'm saying. I think we're all on the same thing. As in the chat, Ms. Gales puts in, I think that everybody, let me pop it up there. I think that everybody has certain boxes that they need to have checked if they're trying to have a real relationship. Absolutely. Like Zane, I'm sure there's some things for you that if you're talking to this young lady and she starts saying, fill in the blank, that's a deal breaker. We're done. And you need to quickly let her know, I'm sorry, this is not going to work out, respectfully, and then move on and try again with the next applicant.
Absolutely.
That's what we're saying.
But I want to say this, if I could say this, it's not a man's problem or a woman's problem. It's everybody's problem. I mean, guys are not these dirty cheaters, and women are not these horrible cheaters. Everybody does it. It's just not just a one-sided thing, you know?
Yes.
I mean, so we got to quit blaming, oh, these men, or oh, these women. We all stray.
We all
for whatever the reason
You're just
is
two
behind
rotten
it.
motherfuckers that got together is what the problem is. You know, men and women.
I'd be careful of saying all, because I feel like there are some people, at least I'm just believing people that I've heard, who literally were in a relationship and was like, man, I'm really thinking about XYZ, and you know, what should I do? I'm like, you know, talk to your partner. And they had the conversation, and then they broke up, and then that person ended up having a long-term relationship with the person they were thinking about straying. And I thought that's a miracle. But those people exist, just like the people who like, man, like, why don't you just be single and, you know, get on Tinder? Because I like being in a relationship, and I like the feel of sneaking behind somebody's back. It's something about it that I just really enjoy. Like, so I've seen both ends of the spectrum, right? So I think where that comes in on is, besides the people who are just cheating just because they enjoy cheating and the sneakiness, right? Leaving them aside, people who are trying their relationships, I don't think they really want to hurt the person they're with or be hurt. And I think that can be at least curved a little bit by more honest conversation. Like my main man Zane down there says, that happens, that's fluid every day, every single day. Talk to me about your day. What are you getting that you like, that you want to keep? What are you not getting that you want to see more of? I think if we start doing that, we'll see more. We'll see it even out a little bit. But speaking of your, you know, making sure you know that men and women are both cheaters, for our final video, as we think about our final question, right? The final question being, can you be forgiven, right? Is cheating forgivable? And most importantly, when is it not forgivable, right? So to kind of set this clip up, this girl's friends have set up a surprise birthday party in which they invite the boyfriend, right? They get into the apartment, they decorate, they're hiding, to be shocked to see the girl whose birthday it is sneak somebody in, and she's about to have an affair when the boyfriend, they're all there, and the boyfriend has been invited as well. So let's check that nonsense out.
That's not. Hey, we invited him, right? I text him. I literally just told him to come. That's him.
So there you go. It's just not just one sex, but I feel like that's probably a more aggressive, female who just, like Glenn said before, like I just wanted some strange and I went and got it, But your thoughts on this? Can cheating be forgiven?
I think it depends on each case. Again, we cannot just blanket statements everything. I think a lot of people, a lot of relationships were saving worth a second chance, but I don't believe in third chance or fourth. I feel a second, and if you don't learn, because let's say I was just horny and I jumped in this girl's car and something happened or whatever the fuck it is. Maybe even I planned it all and whatever, but I'm a good husband or a good dad or a good father or whatever. Like, I feel like I should depend on the case. Like, you should be able to explain yourself and then the decision should be reached based on the severity and how the relationship is before cheating.
Right. Rich, what do you think? Can it be forgiven?
I mean, hell yeah, it can be forgiven. I've seen that shit happen every day. I've seen, we all know plenty couples, you know what I mean? So yeah, it can be forgiven, you know what I mean? But can you forgive it is the question, you know what I mean? That's some individual shit, you know what I mean? You have to be able to look at that person and know, yes, I'm all right with that, not saying it was cool or nothing, but I can be okay tomorrow knowing that you did this yesterday. And if you can't do that, then yeah, you got to move on. You know what I mean? You got to be honest with yourself, and you also can't, like you said, you feel like, you should be given, depending on, you're a good father and a good husband, and you was just horny. And hey, man, I feel that because I'm a man too. I get it, but at the same time, no matter what you do, you can, you can't. The other person's reaction is the other person's reaction every time.
You cannot force them to
you
forgive
can't
you.
have their reaction for them. You know what I mean? You could feel a certain type of way. I'm a good guy, and this saying, and I was just, hey man, you're right. That's exactly what it was. But that don't mean she not like dead.
Yeah.
It didn't kill her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. But you know what I mean?
So we have a caveat in here. What if there is a baby?
Yeah, man, what is this, a Life Jennings song? We know what, if there's a baby, there's a baby. You know what I mean? Papa was a Rolling Stone. Shit happens. You know what I mean? There are babies everywhere. Yes,
I don't think a baby matters when it comes to, like, if I'm breaking your heart, like, my son is gonna be my son, but I'm gonna lose you as a partner or as a best friend or as a wife, right? But my kid will always be my kid.
No. I think what she's saying, that if you cheat and the wife feels like, all right, I'm gonna forgive him and all this stuff, and then there's a baby that comes out,
from the affair.
Hold on, I want to hear from Glenn. Hold on, fellas. I want to hear from Miss Glennis on that, right?
Miss Glennis ain't going for that shit.
I can talk on this because I know someone who had an affair and they did have a child out of it. And the person that I was close to was able to forgive her and accept the child because it was his son's brother. And so I looked at it from this person I'm close to's perspective, and I accept the whole situation because if they're cool with it, then I need to be cool with it.
Yeah.
And so I understand that it's not the child's fault. It's never the child's fault. And if the person that I'm close to can handle it, then who am I to stand in the way and say, oh, no, we got to be jerks? No, forgiveness is not for the other person. It's for you to deal with. It's for you to let go. It's for you to just turn everything loose and just let it go. It's hard. I'm not saying it's easy. It's just something you have to do in order for you to have and to understand that shit happens.
Right.
And it's out of our control. And so if you want to be miserable, then hang on to it. But I choose not to be miserable. And I guess wisdom comes with age, I guess. I don't know, but it's just
there's
easier.
Some people who mature a lot faster than others. We talk about it as a whole because of the biological, physiological makeup of women, that they tend to be more mature because they have a shot at responsibility way quicker than the guy. Like Rich said, you can knock down 10, get 10 pregnant, go to Austin, do the same thing, keep it moving. But as for a woman, that's something that you have to deal with, that possibility, right? That's why in society throughout time, women are the deciders, right? They decide who they choose as partners, right? Barring rape and, all sorts of different laws in certain countries, right? Where women have absolutely no say in just about anything. But for most of the world, women are doing the choosing, and they try to make sure they align themselves with someone that makes them
That's
feel fulfilled.
racist. I'm just kidding.
Get out of here! Get out of
Maybe
here!
it was.
You're saying the countries that women cannot talk or do anything. You mean me, my country? Because that's where
for definitely
Yes.
sure. You couldn't say anything in your
Yes, we
country
do.
either, dadgummit. But you
Yeah,
know, there's also
I agree.
China
I agree
with the
with
one
you.
world.
I agree with you.
Right. There's also China with the one child policy that they just upgraded to 2. You know,
Oh man,
the issue they're having over there in Japan.
I don't
like,
feel coming from a
hang on,
very
Zane.
strict.
Hang on, Zane. The issue they're having over there in Japan right now, one of the things that rich Japanese men do is they literally put on the billboard what they do for a living, how much they're worth, because there's a shortage of females. And they're actually putting themselves up on billboards, if you can afford to do so, saying, hey, I've got 2 cars, a home, I'm worth X amount of dollars, please call this number. You know what I mean? But like, there are some places, and then you have America, who's like, you know, women are just
you can't
like,
sell pussy,
nope,
but you can put a
nope.
billboard up. But okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they have a serious issue over there where, because of these laws where they say, hey, make sure you only having so many of this, because men are important. They're more important than women. And when they had a bunch of dudes and not enough women, then it's like, oh shoot, we need we need more women. Women are now important, right? So where the men who have money are trying to get catfish and whatever you call it, a gold dug to save their race. I mean, it's something else. Well, you better not be going to Japan, as the missus says. I'm going to Japan. No applications for you. But Glennis, Zane, thank you so much for joining us. Y'all hang out in the back room, get you some cookies and juice, and we'll wrap this thing on up. All right. Thank y'all.
Thank you for having me.
You take care, man.
Appreciate y'all. Thank you much.
Absolutely. And then there are 2. So we kind of went to many different places. The 3 main questions: what is fidelity, right? Can it be forgiven, right? And why do people do it? So we covered those 3 points, right? What fidelity is when you make the contract with a person to be in a relationship, you both need to make sure you're on the same page as to what that means, right? People do it for many different reasons. There are some reports out there that men, or not even men, just masculine people, male or female, who tend to be more aggressive, right, and disagreeable and all these things, they tend to be the ones having the most infidelity out there. But they also, it kind of correlates to drinking too much and smoking and doing all kinds of impulsive things. So for them, infidelity is just one of the many. Should you forgive someone? That's individual. It depends on you. So we had a good talk. I'm glad we finally got Miss Glennis and, you know, just female perspective, right? But it's funny that literally there are some people out there. Right. You see your boy out there? What's happening, Mr. Williams? So yeah, there's some people who are out there who go through, they don't communicate. Some person is lacking something. They stray outside the relationship, right? And then once they're caught or they confess, and then that person who got cheated on gets past all of that initial hurt and anger and all that thing, and they start having those serious conversations afterwards. They report that those people have a more passionate and fulfilling relationship after that cheating happens. So I think what we're trying to say on this little show is, man, just make sure that we're communicating, putting that application in, all those things. And so maybe, and it's not nothing's 100%, but maybe we'll get somewhere. Get the frap out of here, man. Talking about the spray lineup. If I was gonna do a fake spray lineup, Sydney Williams that going in the chats, acting a fool, plumb fool. I would definitely make this hairline go a little bit deeper. You know, if I'm gonna do a fake hairline, I'm gonna do it right. But Mr. Rich, last word as usual.
Hey man, once again, y'all, thank y'all for joining us on another episode of Urban Academia. We will be back again next week, same time, same place, to further this conversation about relationships and what points we need to cover and what conversations we need to have before we jump into these situationships that we've been having. So until next time, love y'all. Can't wait to talk next time. Peace.
For you.